And we are live. Hello, everyone. This is the Bite Back Tour in the city of Glendora. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Levy Sun. I'm with the San Gabriel Valley Mosquito and Vector Control District. We're going to do a quick round of introductions here. We'll go clockwise in this Brady Bunch style. Allie, go ahead.
Hi, Levy. The bells will be in the background, but my name is Allie Gaspar, and I am the Outreach Assistant here at the San Gabriel Valley Mosquito and Vector Control District. I'm also currently at Glendora City Hall.
All right, you're live there in person. The bells mean that we started on time. Perfect. Next, we have Jimena.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jimena. I'm the surveillance person. I do the disease surveillance for the city of Glendora, and currently I am in our district laboratory.
All right, thank you, Jimena. Next on this list, I have Christian.
Hi, everyone. My name is Christian Luna, and I am one of the education specialists here at the district.
Thank you for joining us, Christian. And Marco?
Hi, good morning, everybody. I'm Marco Gaitan, the Vector Control Specialist 3 with the Operations Department here at San Gabriel Valley Mosquito and Vector Control District.
All right, thank you. And then a very special guest joining us is Mayor Karen Davis.
Good morning. I'm Karen Davis. So glad to be with all of you this morning. And on a personal level, I really appreciate the work of mosquito and vector control. In my family, we had a family member a few years ago who actually died of West Nile virus after a mosquito bite. So it is near and dear to my heart, the hard work that the Mosquito and Vector Control District does for the city of Glendora and surrounding communities. So it is a pleasure to be here this morning with all of you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mayor Davis. And then just swooping in the nick of time. I don't know if you're ready with your microphone or anything. Trustee Jackie Dornick just joined us. She sits on our board of trustees. She represents, she was appointed by Glendora representing San Gabriel Valley Vector Control District at large. So whenever you're ready, Trustee Dornick, you can either unmute or show your video and we can give you a chance to say hello to Glendora. Although, oh, there you are. Oh, there you are.
No, thank you for having me. I was just on a very interesting meeting about homeless housing in the city of Baldwin Park, so I'm a little late. I apologize.
Oh, not a problem. Just glad you can join us. We're gonna go ahead and dive right into it right now. So at any time for any of our guests, if you have any questions or comments, just interrupt. The problem with Zoom versus in person is that we can't see who's raising their hands. So just jump in there and squeeze in the question or comment. So we'll start off with the big news. West Nile virus. It is circulating actively in San Gabriel Valley here. And it will continue to circulate as long as we have the birds and the mosquitoes present and the right temperatures and the right factors, environmental factors built in. So the key thing that we get asked around this time is, are you going to do any kind of area-wide treatments? The answer right now is that there are no planned area-wide treatments for these adult mosquitoes for several major reasons. The big one is that we reserve these area-wide treatments as a last case resort. We need to make sure that it is truly indeed a public health emergency before we go out and do any kind of pesticide treatment, especially in a large area for these adult mosquitoes. One of the biggest reasons why we don't do it every day or as frequently as some of our residents may like is because of pesticide resistance buildup in our populations of mosquitoes. Our fear is that if we continuously expose these mosquitoes to the similar pesticide or same pesticide over and over again, they'll build up the resistance so that if there ever is a public health emergency, it won't be as effective. And feel free to weigh in, Jimena, Marco, if there's anything else I'm missing there. But that's the gist of what I understand why we don't just continuously spray every single day out there.
And Levy, a quick question. What about what do dead birds have to do with West Nile virus in our areas?
What do the birds have to do with it? I'll do a little bit of an intro there on the birds, and Jimena, you can tack on anything I missed. But West Nile virus, to simplify it, is a bird disease. So ideally, the virus should only circulate between the birds and the mosquito. Unfortunately, because of the way we've urbanized our environment, birds are not as plentiful. They are not as readily available for blood meals or bites from a mosquito. So incidentally, we become infected by West Nile virus from the bite of a mosquito. So that's how we get it. So it doesn't mean that every single time we get bit, we will get West Nile virus. It is almost what you can consider a mosquito lottery. It's just that one bite can actually give it to you. Unfortunately, it can lead to debilitating. It can lead to debilitating factors, and also can lead to inflammation is it I forgot the specific word. My mind is blanking here. But
encephalitis.
Yes, thank you. Encephalitis. I almost said meningitis, which is not the right term. Yes, encephalitis. 1 in 5 people who do get it may exhibit symptoms that's very flu-like in nature. So fever, body aches. But unfortunately, a lot of the symptoms are so similar to COVID-19 and the flu itself that a lot of residents may not even know they have West Nile virus until they get tested for it when they go see a doctor.
And just to piggyback on that, since you mentioned how we have changed our environment, typically we have different species of mosquitoes that can transmit this disease. The Culex mosquitoes, which come out at night, are usually the ones that will transmit West Nile virus. And Culex tarsalis in particular is the mosquito that is known to best transmit this disease in that bird to mosquito cycle. But because we have changed the environment so much, the southern house mosquito, which is Culex fasciatus, is actually the one that is mostly responsible for transmitting it in an urban setting. And that's just because they are more likely to kind of bite humans than the birds if a bird is not available, as Levy stated earlier. Another thing that I also wanted to mention is that it's not just humans, they actually can incidentally bite horses as well, and horses can also get sick, which is why horses actually have a vaccine. But unfortunately, there isn't one for humans.
Thank you for adding to that, Jimena. Very important details indeed. Now, if you're just joining us, this is the Bite Back Tour in the city of Glendora. If you're watching, you're probably watching on our website, on YouTube, Twitter, or Facebook. Feel free to drop in a comment at any time in the comment section or ask a question where we'll try and answer them as we go. For the next 20 minutes or so, we're going to dive deep into some things that we do and some things that you can do as residents to keep yourself bite free. So we're going to go ahead and continue on with Jimena to talk a little bit more about what we do. And we'll start with her because she and her department, surveillance, they are in a way the nexus of where we get our information. We make our decisions based off of what they have given us, based off of the data that we get, so that our decisions can be more well-informed and better executed. So Jimena, why don't you tell us a little bit about what surveillance does?
Sure. We go out into the field, and what we are trying to do is try to see whether there is any kind of viruses in the area. And the way that we do this is that we place traps out. We have different types of traps depending on what we're trying to collect. So if you see the image, the top left, that's me picking up one of our gravid traps. It collects mosquitoes that have already bitten a bird and are ready to lay eggs. After we collect these mosquitoes, we identify them in the laboratory, and then we sort them by species, and we actually send them out for testing. And when we get the results back, that lets us know whether there is any diseases in the area or not. But on top of that, we do provide operational staff with information about mosquito abundance. In abundance, the more mosquitoes that are in an area, the higher the risk that, if a virus does come into an area, that we could have human infection. So we try to tell them whenever there is an area that needs to be focused on or worked on, so that the numbers can lessen and drop. And that way we could lessen the risk for any kind of human transmission if the virus were to be in the area at a later point in time.
I have a question, Jimena. So with these traps you're using, I know a lot of residents do end up asking, Do these traps actually trap all the mosquitoes out of the environment?
I
Crossing
wish.
fingers.
No, it's just strictly taking a sample. We leave them out for 24 hours. And, it would be awesome if it was a black hole that just suctioned out all the mosquitoes. But no, it'll just collect whatever happens to be in the area neighboring the trap. So it's a random sample that we're collecting.
Got it. So essentially you're creating snapshots every week of the conditions out there in Glendora and around San Gabriel Valley.
Correct.
Okay, so we'll get these snapshots from you. That means that it gets funneled to other departments like communications and operations. So Marco, why don't you talk a little bit about what you do in operations after you get these snapshots from surveillance?
Yeah, thank you, Levy. So what we usually do is, we take all that information that the surveillance department gives us every week. On Mondays, typically we get a trap report letting us know which locations, had these high trap numbers versus, the previous weeks. So typically what we do is we have 8 zone specialists which oversee all of our cities, and that information is kind of divided up into those different sections. And then what the specialist does now is takes that information, goes out to these particular areas and starts kind of canvassing, starts going to any active sites that are on a routine inspection cycle or treatment cycle. They'll open up any inactive sites that maybe at one point were something that we were kind of following up on, but over time it was no longer a problem, and we still check those out, making sure that they're still in a in a safe condition. We also relay that information over to several other programs. We have our underground programs, our flood channel programs, our consultation programs, and what they do is they also go out to these areas and try to assist. Like the underground crews will go out. They have these routes kind of already laid out throughout the cities where they kind of go out, open up these lids. They see if there's any flowing water, any stagnant water, any adult populations flying out, and which then they kind of determine what they're going to do, whether they're just going to pass on to the next one or they're going to perform some sort of treatment. Most of the time, if there's any water in there or any adults kind of flying out of there, what they'll do is they'll perform a treatment pretty quick. They can get in and out from one lid to the next in under a minute. So they're very efficient. And this isn't just something that we do during the busy season. This is something that's year round. We have 2 crews that go out in groups of 3s, and just year round, they're just popping up in these lids, performing inspections and treating. And, every single city has tons of these kind of storm drain lids throughout them. So like I said,
Marco,
this is kind of, yeah.
You just said something that was interesting, year round. So you're telling me like in the dead of winter, you guys can find mosquitoes in these underground storm drains?
Absolutely. That's something that we have found over the past few years. Thankfully with our new processing system, our new data system, we're able to kind of keep track of it with the help of surveillance and their traps. We're able to kind of identify which ones are like the high population areas. And yeah, like I said, you pop these things open and we'll see these adults flying out because they offer a perfect environment for them. They can go in there and harbor throughout the winter season. And, the moment you disturb them, they'll just kind of want to flurry out of there. But yeah, it's year round, nonstop, alongside with our flood channel programs, which kind of tie into these, where we have, separate crews that have like either our hard tire Jeeps, which have been retrofitted to safely go to these flood channels and do inspections and treatments. We have an ATV crew that goes out there, does the same thing. We have our walk-in flood channels where, technician goes out, they inspect these flood channels, because ultimately what happens is you have the way the storm drain system works is, you have your gutters, which run along the roads, which that water would lead into a catch basin, which leads into these underground storm drain systems that right here, you can see the technicians popping open. And then that water ultimately ends up in one of our flood channels. So, we're covering this from the very beginning, from the gutter that we might have to treat for any, larva or pupa, to the underground storm drain systems that we're performing the same thing. And then even the flood channel. So we're trying it from the very beginning all to the way to the very end. And then even onto people's properties as well. When we go on there, we perform inspections, educating them, tip out any stagnant water on a weekly basis, toss any unused containers that, we don't really need anymore. And, during these, busier months when it's warmer and you got a lot of population out there, make sure that they're being protected by wearing repellent, as well as, wearing looser clothing.
One thing you pointed out that I think may have actually addressed Victor C, who's watching on YouTube, said that he has a neighbor who claims mosquitoes are not coming from standing water. Well, the common thing here so far is stagnant water. Mosquitoes need stagnant water to complete their life cycle. So once you eliminate the stagnant water, you eliminate the potential for any mosquitoes. So hopefully, Victor, your neighbor is watching and now knows that mosquitoes do come from stagnant water. But that's
somebody asked a question earlier on whether mosquitoes prefer certain types of birds. And I figured I'd jump in now and answer that question.
Yeah, absolutely, Hamina.
So mosquitoes typically will bite any kind of bird that's in the area. But what's important is that there are certain birds that will actually amplify the virus. And for West Nile virus in particular, that would be the mosquitoes that fall into the corvid class. So that would be more like the American crow, scrub jays, it could be blue jays, as well as ravens. And these are the birds that are most likely gonna get sick and end up dying because they're infected with West Nile virus. There are other birds, like you probably heard about sentinel chickens. So chickens will also get bit by mosquitoes, but they do not amplify the virus, which means that they do not exhibit any symptoms and they will not die from it, which is why we usually use them to actually see if there is any kind of transmission for West Nile virus as well in the area, because they won't actually get sick from it, but they can actually, we can detect the virus in their body.
Thank you, Hamina. And then Pablo just threw up on the screen here. If you see any dead birds around Glendora, please report that to westnile.ca.gov. It is a state-run service that allows them to cull together all the dead birds that might be found in the community. And dead birds that test positive for West Nile virus is a great way for us to figure out where the spread of West Nile virus may go, may be, and where it is right now. So please report that. And then just to clarify, sentinel chickens are used across the country by various agencies. We actually don't use them here anymore. And I don't know, because of the recent issue with, is it Newcastle that has affected chickens, or what's the disease that's been, do you recall?
I honestly am not sure.
Yeah, there's, I want to say it was Newcastle, but I could be wrong. But I know because of that, getting healthy chickens has been a lot more difficult. And it's been a lot more expensive for vector control districts to get these chickens. So, all right. Thank you, Hamina.
Levy, I have a question. Yes. So should I, if I see a dead bird, do I report any dead bird, or do they have to be like a certain type or in a certain condition?
Oh, I'll throw it over to Hamina, actually.
Yeah, sure. So yes, the bird needs to be freshly dead, so less than 48 hours. And I know that's difficult to gauge if you've never really been around dead birds. But one way you can very easily tell is if you kind of look at the head of the bird and you look for that eye. If the eye is glossy, it's freshly dead. But usually if the eye is missing, or if you see maggots on it, it will not be testable anymore, because a lot of that flesh that we need for the testing is going to be gone by that point. Any bird is fine to report. What you do is you call the hotline and they let us know, and we'll go pick up any bird, whether it's a corvid or not, because we can still detect the virus. But if it is an American crow, that's definitely something that we're a little bit more interested in, because it's more likely to have that virus in it.
And Jimena, what if the bird is still alive? Because there's been times where I would see a bird that's flopping around, clearly dying in the process of dying. Do I still report that to you, or to the West Nile virus, or to the West Nile virus hotline?
So you want to wait until the bird completely passes away before you actually call and report. We are unable to test or handle still animals that are still alive. So we need them to be completely dead, or else we will not be able to pick them up. So we do ask that you wait before you report it.
All right, thank you so much, Hamina. So there's clearly a lot of information. If you're just tuning in, this is the Bite Back Tour in the city of Glendora. We're just talking about dead birds just now. If you're watching on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, or our website, feel free to drop in a comment or question at any time. A lot of information here. Now, how do we take that and distill it down to communicate to the public at large, or more specifically, the little ones? Because we still need to educate our students about this because it does affect them and their families. So Christian, I'm going to throw it over to you to discuss, how do you take all these concepts and all this knowledge and jam it into a curriculum that kids can understand?
There's a lot to vector control. And so, yeah, so we synthesize the information and then we turn it into something that's NGSS aligned and for K through 12 students. And we create programs. So we go into schools and we teach the kids just these basic things like look for stagnant water, right? Things that they can clearly do when they're in their backyards, and help out their parents to also be public health advocates. So we have a number of different programs. We have classroom programs, like I said, are NGSS aligned with the state standards and national standards. And we also have our citizen science program. So we have the Vector Inspector program, VIP, as well as Operation Mosquito Grid. And those happen during the fall. So we are still accepting any teachers that are interested in getting their students to participate in VIP, please reach out to us. We have worked with Glendora High and Cullen Elementary from Glendora before, so we hope that they will invite us back, and we hope to go to any of the other schools in Glendora to provide some mosquito information. So I would just encourage teachers to go on vectoreducation.org and look at all of our programs. We have really great stuff that are all interactive and fun and very educational for students. That's our website right there. So yeah, go ahead and jump on there and see what we have. But one thing that I did want to mention, which we are super excited about, is we have something called Journey of the Germ that was just released. So it is our interactive educational experience talking about one of the topics that has been really highlighted today, which is West Nile virus. So it was a grant funded program through the experience through the Entomological Society of America. And basically, you get on there and you follow the journey of West Nile virus as it moves through 2 mosquitoes that are living in different temperature regimes. And so you get to learn about how the virus moves through the mosquito's body and what happens to some unsuspecting birds and humans in the process. So I highly encourage anyone to jump on journeyofthegerm.org and check it out. It's also on our website, so you can find it there. So right now we have the web version available, and then our Android and Apple versions are coming very soon.
And Christian, a quick question about the programs. I know teachers are extremely busy and still navigating through virtual learning and whatnot. How much work as a teacher would I have to put in to have you in the classroom?
Great question, Pablo. So yeah, so we try to make this as easy as possible for teachers. So we handle all of the heavy lifting. We will, we bring all the content, we bring all of the materials, everything is free, everything is provided. So just, book us, and then we'll see, what you're interested in for any of our programs. And we just need, the date and time, and that's pretty much it.
All right, thank you, Christian. If you're just tuning in, this is the Bite Back Tour in the city of Glendora. We're about 6 minutes till the end of the show, but let's dive into something that Victor C from YouTube has asked about vegetation. And that's actually something that's really big on our list to talk about with residents. We know that a lot of residents love their lush yards full of greens, and they may unfortunately end up overwatering because some of these plants are not California native plants. So Ali, you want to take maybe just a minute or two to talk about how dense vegetation can impact mosquitoes around the home?
Hi, Levy. Thank you. Yeah, just dense vegetation generally just provides the shade and harborage that mosquitoes love to rest in. They're just like us when it comes to the heat, and they can't really handle it. So things like ivy, dense bushes, and even just plants that are like considered clusters of plants in your yard, and also around in the public, tend to be the place where mosquitoes tend to go towards. Having that combined with stagnant water just makes it the perfect habitat for mosquitoes to grow in. So the easiest way to do that is to cut back wood covers, meaning to make sure that you're trimming all of these ivies to the point where there's tons of airflow, because mosquitoes are weak air flyers. So if you have a lot of airflow, it will help, reduce that mosquito activity. So even if you have no stagnant water in your yard and you have dense vegetation, there's a strong likelihood that you're going to experience some biting, just because, maybe a neighbor does have stagnant water, but maybe you guys are the ones with that dense vegetation, which is going to have the mosquitoes biting you. So if you can, possibly just make sure that you get rid of it. And then you can always switch to beautiful California native plants. They require a lot less water, which means that you'll be, saving money, and that you will also be creating a more a better ecosystem for your environment. It can attract beneficial insects and birds, and just be a very beautiful way and an easier alternative instead of dealing with cutting and trimming back all of that dense vegetation.
All right, thank you, Ali. Now, that's one thing to be clear too, is that mosquitoes are part of our urban environment no matter what. As much as people hate it, we cannot get rid of 100% of mosquitoes, which means we still need to take precautions, whether we're at a park or we're in our backyard. So Ali, what else can people do to protect themselves around the home or when they're enjoying themselves outdoors?
So people can actually protect themselves by wearing repellent. I think Marco was the one who said it earlier, to protect with repellent. As long as you have mosquito repellent on your skin, you should be good to go. The way that you want to apply it now, especially while it's still hot, is you want to make sure that you're putting on your sunscreen first. And then once your sunscreen dries, then you want to go ahead and put your repellent on after. Now, the repellent, there's tons of repellent out there when you go shopping, and it can be very confusing. So the easiest way to remember which repellent will work for you is just to make sure that you're following you're getting one of the 4 ingredients into your mosquito repellent. And those ingredients are oil of lemon eucalyptus, DEET, picaridin, and IR 3535. And it'll actually tell you on the front of your repellent bottle what that ingredient is and the percentage rate of what's in there. And so the percentage rate just gives you a better idea of how long it's going to last. So for example, if you're just going to go to the store and run a couple errands and be outside only for an hour, you want a lower percentage rate so you don't have to reapply it as frequently. But if you're going to be somewhere for a long time and you don't want to reapply it, then make sure that you get something with a higher percentage rate. And always follow the direction use right here on the back of the label. It's the best way to make sure that you're applying it correctly. And the way you apply it is you just spray a few times wherever your skin is exposed, and you don't want to overspray because then you're just exposing yourself to more. And then you want to make sure that you do not spray your face just like this. You want to make sure that when even applying to a minor or just yourself and your face, that you spray it into your hands first, and then you apply wherever necessary.
Thank you so much, Ali. Very informative. And then we're about wrapping up here in the Bite Back Tour. One big thing I really want to push out there and really just challenge Glendora residents is to become a Bite Back champion. We've heard that there have been quite a few residents who want to do more in their community, and they want to do rally their neighbors. Well, luckily, in the past year, we've set up a program called the Bite Back Program. And this is a grassroots approach to neighborhood level solutions of mosquito control. We actually go out and work with neighbors and their families to find a custom solution for that block. And within that block, we can do a variety of things, including door hanger distribution, to doing backyard and front yard inspections, and in a way reset the neighborhood and just educate everyone to be better aware of mosquito issues in their block. So we hope to get more Bite Back champions in Glendora. So if you're watching, we can sign up at any time at bitebackchampion.org. With that, we run into our closing remarks. So we're gonna go ahead and have everyone give a little sign off here through our Brady Brunch group here. So we'll start with Jimena. Any closing remarks for Glendora?
Glendora, you have a very unique environment in the foothills over there, and it's just pristine for all kinds of insects and bugs. And so you guys have a lot of mosquitoes. I know you have a lot of Aedes mosquitoes that are bothering all of you, preventing you from having your backyard barbecues. And on top of that, you have the black flies that you've been used to for a very long time. And so I definitely like to encourage all of you to please do your part and dump out your water and report anything to us that you might see out that might be helpful so that we could help protect you as well.
Thank you, Jimena. Pablo?
Just reiterating on what was said earlier, just making sure that we're eliminating stagnant water by tipping out stagnant water, tossing unused containers, and making sure that we're protecting ourselves using effective mosquito repellent like Ali showed us as well. And on another note, today also happens to be California's 171st birthday as a state. So why not celebrate California's birthday by planting California native plants that will help you save on water and help keep mosquitoes out of your yard.
All right. Happy birthday, California. Thank you, Pablo. Next, Christian.
I just want to encourage all formal and informal educators to check out our website, which is vectoreducation.org, and sign up for our programs. Check out Journey of the Germ. We are going to be presenting at the Entomological Society of America in October, and we would love some data to be able to present there. So help us out.
Thank you, Christian. Marco.
Yeah, if anybody's experiencing any problems, feel free to, put in a request for a consultation where we can have one of our specialists come out to the property and, kind of walk through the entire yard and just let you know what we're looking for. So that way it can help protect you for the future. And then you can communicate that with your neighbors as well. And, like Pablo and everyone said, just make sure we're getting rid of any of those unused containers and tossing out that water.
Thank you, Marco. Ali?
Hey everyone, just want to remind you to wear mosquito repellent whenever you're outside. Just like we pack our masks and our hand sanitizer these days, we want to make sure that we're packing repellent as well. And also to make sure that you're maintaining things like rain barrels, for example, since I have it behind me, making sure that all of the netting is fitted and covered and there aren't any holes in it, as well as all of the spouts, just for those who own rain barrels here in the area.
Thank you. And our special guest, Trustee Dornick, and we'll end it with Mayor Davis afterward.
People just don't understand how much you actually do. I had a guest from the Midwest come out, and even though we find our mosquitoes and black flies annoying, she asked me, where's all the bugs? And so you do a fantastic job. And and another kudo is I had a neighbor give you a call, and she got back to me with great compliments on how informative and helpful you were on the site. So don't be afraid to call because it's a government entity. They're there to help you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, let's get rid of the bad bugs and keep all the beneficial ones around here. Mayor Davis.
Thank you. Yes, I was going to say that even something as tiny as this cap of a water bottle can be a breeding place. So the best thing for Glendorans to do is look at your yards, dump out any standing water, and take advantage of the great resources at the San Gabriel Valley Mosquito and Vector Control. Sign up today to be a Bite Back champion. I know that one of the questions that I get asked the most, Ali just answered, so thank you, Ali. It's about the rain barrels. People always want to know what to do about those. So if you have more questions, give them a call and get your questions answered, and all of us can be champions to bite back and stop the spread of West Nile virus and other mosquito diseases. So thank you all for doing this today.
Just realized I was muted. Yeah, thank you so much for joining us today, the Bite Back Tour in the city of Glendora. Everyone, please stay healthy and stay bite